When executive producer and screenplay writer of Game of Thrones, David Benioff, saw Dubrovnik for the first time, he admits to being in shock, because it was just how they envisioned Game of Thrones. Production designer Deborah Riley enthuses about the contrasts in the city's landscape, saying that Dubrovnik has open streets and then narrow streets, and its personality changes in an instant. The crazy thing is that the filmmakers did have to change it. They made some old parts look newer, because it was new back in the days of King's Landing, and they made some newer or tidier parts look old. It's a filmmaker's dream, provided the city supports filmmaking, and filmmaking can be very demanding. In return, they needed to have the foresight of fame and tourism, and they did. 4 or more cruise ships stop here some days, bringing thousands of people.
We're going to use the excellent free tourist map. You can download it from dorisvisits.com/GOT. So let's start at Pile Gate and look at the iconic stone pillars. This is where Joffrey was abused and verbally attacked by a large, unruly crowd. Already we have a feeling of Game of Thrones, but we're not just looking for locations. We're looking for elements. Elements are digitally used to build sets and interiors using computer graphics. You can collect your own elements. These elements, like this statue in the wall of Pile, can be taken and used anywhere. Their CGI team would have collected icons, statues, plaques, pillars, windows, facades, and vistas and views to be seen from windows, just like Jean's. She lives in King's Landing.
Straden, the main street in Dubrovnik, from Pile Gate up to Sponza Palace. But we're looking for Littlefinger's brothel, where Tyrion Lannister meets Oberyn Martell in Series 4. Turn right up the hill, through the narrow streets so often used. Circle 18 on your map, the Ethnographic Museum. The old 16th century granary is now looking very smart, but the exteriors were used as the brothel. The arch outside is also used for many walk-through shots. Go through the arch and walk along under the wall.
Next, 44 on your map, St Ignatius Church, worth a look, and a big empty square.
These are the famous Spanish steps, or Jesuit steps. This is where Lena Headey as Cersei starts the incredible famous Walk of Shame in Series 5, Episode 10, and goes around the old city. She's said to have a body double, as allegedly she has a number of tattoos. This is an incredibly brave scene, reenacted by so many people. So feel free to dress up or dress down. You won't be the only one.
Here in this empty square should be the great Sept of Baelor, the centre of worship for the Seven. So, in a very crude way, we'll take the church and add it to the top of the stairs. In years to come, there will be games to build your own King's Landing. Games are worth far more than films. You can see the fun that can be had with your pictures. Okay, like Cersei, down the steps, but turn right, because we're looking for something else.
This is the third cathedral on this site. The second was destroyed in an earthquake in 1667.
You might take a detour to the port here, but we're not. Come back, Jean. We're off along the road to find another great building.
Welcome to the Rector's Palace. Follow me inside this late 15th century palace where Daenerys Targaryen stood at the bottom of the stairs looking up at the Spice King of Qarth and asked for ships to sail to the Seven Kingdoms. Continue your walk to the Sponza Palace, number 8 on your map, and the square with Orlando's column outside St Blaise's Church. Cersei continued her walk of penance here with hundreds of extras throwing food at her. Weave around the back to St Dominica Street. Circle 25 on your map, the old Dominican Monastery. The steps are featured on all the tours, and you could walk on to Close Gate where the Walk of Shame ends, but we're going to head back to number 1, Pile Gate. Everywhere is stunning.
But you'll notice in the TV series that they actually changed the brickwork on a lot of the walls and added buildings and made them bigger, so the whole of King's Landing looked even more special. Now, you can only go round the walls once. You have to get off where you got on.
You can walk around the whole town free, but if you want to walk the walls, it's 150 kuna. They don't take euros, but they do take credit card.
It would be hard to choose an actor that hasn't looked out over these walls at the sea. Tyrion Lannister often did. Behind Jean here is 30 on your map, Borca Fort.
This area here is the area they used for the docks in Game of Thrones. Obviously they would have filmed looking outwards at the walls and sea and the castle. They wouldn't look back on the town, or if they did, it would have been changed with CGI. Films mean big tourism business. See what Lord of the Rings did for New Zealand. The big question is, was Dubrovnik built for Game of Thrones, or has Game of Thrones made Dubrovnik? It does have a real Game of Thrones feel to it. Not only did they film on the steps, but they filmed along the walls. Can you walk around without thinking Game of Thrones? Because there's 4 ships in today, the Costa ship has pulled the short straw and is tendering.
Looking down, you get a great bird's eye view of all of the places in the city. And looking up, you see more icons that you know you just steal for CGI. We're back at the Dominican Monastery, and down below, behind the scaffolding and the building, there are the steps that they used by Street Dominica, where all the market scenes were done.
Looking back, more great views of the monastery and the city. This is the view Cersei saw looking out from her palace. You saw Joffrey's guards run up these steps on the left, looking to kill King Robert Baratheon's bastard children. Turning back, imagine you're Cersei. Give a small knowing grin and watch the whole city blow up in a green plume. They put the building in front of Lochran Island and made it disappear. Now we're heading towards Mincetter Tower, obvious because it's the tallest building in Dubrovnik, circle 31 on your map. It's the steps and the house of the Undying in Qarth. Daenerys stood looking at the wall. I'll let you do that. We're going to leave the walls at Pile Gate and go down to the bay where so much happens. This area here is the area they used for the docks in Game of Thrones. Obviously they would have filmed looking outwards at the walls and sea and the castle. They wouldn't look back on the town, or if they did, it would have been changed with CGI.
Littlefinger took Sansa down the stone jetty to offer her a way out, whereas Princess Marcella was sailed away to an arranged marriage on your left-hand side. And on the right, Joffrey ordered the murder of Robert Baratheon's children by those doors in the rocks. We walk up from the bus stop up the hill and turn left by the cafe and up some steps, an incline, and take the right-hand fork into the park. Gradach Park was used for many scenes in Games of Thrones, including Joffrey's wedding. If you really want to do a Game of Thrones tour, I suggest you get a local guide who knows all the secrets and everything that was shot. In the park here, there's nothing but trees, although the Y-shaped tree in the distance is very recognisable. Dubrovnik is a director's dream. Wherever you point the camera, it's so filmatic. Enjoy Dubrovnik, and if you enjoyed this, check out Jean's spoof Angels and Demons film in Rome.